Hello, this is Paul Matthews with Natrum. This is tutorial 15 on Twilio. In this tutorial, we will cover some of the options of Gather. And here are the prerequisites of this tutorial. Tutorial number 1, which is Hello World, and tutorial number 14, which is the last tutorial on IVR with voice input. We briefly looked at speech and DTMF in the last tutorial. We look at the input. How do we specify input for either speech or DTMF for both? We also looked at hints. We'll look at the Twilio documentation on hints, and we look at a few other parameters called num digits, timeout, and speech timeout. So let's look at Twilio Gather for some of these options. So here is the documentation on Twilio. An easy way to find out about Gather is to just search for Twilio Gather in Google, and that should usually get you to the documentation on Gather. So Gather does have multiple options, which you can see here. So here are the various options on Gather. We already saw the action, and the action URL will be called by Twilio after Gather is complete. Finish on key, which is useful if you are typing in multiple digits and want to end it. If you do not, so if let's say that you are expecting 10 digits, or if you've not given the number of digits, and you have variable input. So let's say that you have a variable input of either 3 digits or 5 digits. If you press just 3 digits, then Twilio will wait until the timeout before proceeding, because Twilio does not know if you want to enter one more digit or not. In that case, if you press the pound, which can be changed by the finish on key attribute, then Twilio will end the capture and pass the control over to the action URL. We already saw hints. Hints, let's look into hints. Hints are comma separated, and hint is really giving a hint to Twilio. So there you can provide up to 500 words or phrases in this list, and each of those are separated by comma. Then we saw hints. Input, we saw input in the last tutorial. So input can either be DTMF or speech, or it can be DTMF and speech. It defaults to DTMF. So if you just want to capture DTMF, you don't have to give it. But if you want to capture just speech, you can give the input as speech. If you want both, then you can give DTMF and speech, which is what we did last time. Language is interesting. There are various languages that Twilio supports if you want to gather on a specific language. Num digits, we saw that last time we used num digits as 1. By default, it's unlimited. And num digits, so if you want to capture, let's say 10 digits, you can give it as 10. The advantage is that after 10 digits are captured, Twilio will immediately stop and pass control to the action URL. Partial results callback is useful when you give voice input, and if you want to collect input as it goes. Profanity filter, there is speech timeout. You can change the speech timeout. Last time we did not specify any speech timeout, so it did default to this timeout. So now we'll play with a different value so that Twilio can capture the speech quite quickly. The timeout is the timeout between 2 digits. So that's the timeout that Twilio will wait to enter the next digit. So you can either reduce it or lower it. By default, it's 5. So these are the various inputs. So let's look at that in the next tutorial. So this is going to be our tutorial 15. So this is input, which we saw last time. Hints, we discussed that one. Then here is the action URL. Num digit is 1. We just changed the timeout to 7. So that means that between this Twilio will wait for up to 7 seconds. But in this specific case, this is not going to have an effect because num digit is 1. If num digit was bigger, then this timeout does matter. In fact, no, I take that back. In fact, that matters. That's the number of seconds that Twilio is going to wait. So previously, Twilio was waiting for 5 seconds. Now Twilio will wait for 7 seconds for you to press a digit, and we'll play with that. And then speech timeout is auto. So Twilio will respond when Twilio hears the pause. So that should increase the time for that should improve the time that Twilio takes to respond. In the previous example, it took a while for Twilio to capture our word. Now that should be quicker. So those are the changes compared to the tutorial 14, which included voice IVR. So let's try to install that. Again, we have ngrok running. So this is tutorial 15. Main menu. The rest of the files are the same. So these are the extra parameters. So let's install this in Twilio. So installed this one. Let's make a call, and so let's try to see the 7 seconds first. I believe Twilio has saved it. Let's make a call.
Welcome to Kevin's Doggy Daycare. Please press 1 or say new customer if you are a new customer.
And now what we're going to do is we are not going to press any key. So that should now wait for 7 seconds.
Oh, that is an invalid option. Please try again. Welcome to Kevin's Doggy Daycare. Please press 1 or say new customer if you are a new customer. Please press 2 or say billing if you would like to reach billing. Please press 3 or say dog with us if you have left your dog with us today. Please press 4 or say directions if you would like to hear our directions.
We're going to wait. This should now take 7 seconds.
We have not received any input from you. Please try again. Welcome to Kevin's Doggy Daycare. Please press 1 or say new customer if you are a new customer. Please press 2 or say billing if you would like to reach billing. Please
billing.
Press 3 or say dog.
So as you can listen, it went much quicker, and that is because we gave the speech timeout to be auto. Previously, it was waiting for 5 seconds. Now it gives us a response when Twilio hears the pause. So that was a very quick, short tutorial. Again, to recap, we did cover various options of Gather. We looked at the input for speech of either speech or DTMF. We looked at hints, and then we looked at num digits timeout and also speech timeout. That's the end of this tutorial. Thank you very much.